Hello, friends on and off the road. How are you guys doing today? I'm mostly okay. I'm out here, quote unquote, doing van renovations, but really I'm just kind of relaxing in my nice, comfortable van bed. So, I lived in my van for about 2 years before I had to move back in at my dad's house because he needed my help. Because he's like 84, he's getting all old and all that. But I mean, the entire time I've been home, he's fallen back into old habits, like when I was a teenager, being verbally abusive. And I don't deserve that. I should be able to receive kindness when all I'm giving out is kindness. So I have made the decision to move back into my van and actually start this YouTube channel instead of just procrastinating. um, Yeah, I am doing some renovations, and when I'm done in here, I will do a van tour. Her name is Patchwork Jean, and it will make a lot of sense when I do the tour. Um, yeah, I've been through a lot, and I'm sure a lot of you have stories as well. Like, life is hard, especially living in America, the way the economy is going, capitalism and all that. Like, it's hard. I mean, people can't afford to live anymore in houses or even apartments. I mean, where I'm at right now, which is Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, like a studio apartment's like over $1,000. Like it's like 1,500 minimum. Like if you go inland a bit, it's like less, but it's not much less. And the cost of groceries is getting higher. The cost of gas is kind of fluctuating lately. It's impossible to live in a house unless you suffer. For most of us, anyway. Any of you guys that are living in your sticks and bricks houses and you're enjoying life and you're thriving, like, I'm so happy for you. But for most of us, we're not. Like, you know, I may as well introduce myself. I'm Jasper. I probably should have said that at the beginning of the video. Um, and this is my channel, Undaunted Nomad, where we talk about limitless self-discovery and van life stuff. So, I was adopted when I was like 2 years old, just to like go way back to the beginning. This is all relevant, I promise. Um, my biological mother was 16 and in foster care, and she didn't want a child. And the foster parents didn't want her to have an abortion, so I was popped out. The foster parents adopted me, Shelby and Arthur, and they did the best they could. But to be honest, both of them were extremely mentally ill. I love them though; they're my parents. My mom passed away in 2019. She started getting like better. I'm not sure if she was on medication or anything. She wouldn't talk about it. But like we started fixing our relationship and all that like a year before she died. And then things with my dad have just kind of been back and forth. Obviously not going very well, being that I'm going to be moving back into the van, but honestly I'm happy to be doing that. But back to the story. um you guys have been teenagers. Maybe some of you watching this are teenagers. Getting along with your parents is not an easy task as a teenager. And, I was on the street at 16 because I couldn't get along with my parents. Um, and I guess that's really kind of where a lot of this started. Was I was very transient from a young age. And I knew a little bit about tiny homes, but what really sold it for me was playing Skyrim. If anybody remembers that game, it came out in 2011 and took the world by storm. Uh, there's these things called mods which is where people can add things to a video game that's released. So one thing that I really liked was the tiny home mods, especially by Eleonora. If anybody knows anything about it, comment down below. Tell me about what you liked about tiny homes in Skyrim. And it's like from there, like I started getting like targeted ads for watching people living in their cars, people living in their vans and stuff. And I don't know, I liked the idea since I was young because I was like, I'm poor. I was born poor, and generally, if you're born poor, you're probably gonna stay poor. I mean, is that not true, America? It may not be true for all of us, but for a lot of us, we tend not to be able to get ahead, especially when we're paying rent or a mortgage. It's really hard to get ahead. So that's a lot of what was really interesting to me about mobile living. And strangely enough, after a few bouts of trying to live with other people, trying to live with my parents, I managed to live with my parents long enough to get into a college. And like late in the first semester, I bought my first car. It was a Pontiac Vibe 2003. It was bright yellow. And like after my first year in college, I ended up getting an apartment. And it was really hard to survive, buying myself food, going to college, and paying rent. And I really hated the apartment I was at, so I ended up going to a different apartment that had slightly, like, lower rent, but I had roommates. And it's not that they were bad roommates, I just didn't like having people who were that close, with very thin walls between us. That and just the financial situation, I ended up having to move into my car. So I mean, Pontiac Vibe is not a very big vehicle. It was not comfortable and I was miserable, but luckily I found Bob Wells over at Cheap RV Living, and I came up with ideas to make it at least tolerable for a while, and it was, but it just wasn't big enough for me. I have bad back problems because I had a back surgery when I was like 12, and they had to put pins and stuff in there, so it's not very comfortable in such a tiny space for me. I know a lot of people out there make it work, especially you Prius people out there. Like, more power to you. I can't. It wasn't for me, and I'm incredibly lucky that I have a good enough relationship with my dad that he can't really drive anymore that much. So he actually got this van from his brother, so my uncle. And he and my mom used it for a while. This is a 2002 Chevy Express 1500. I ended up trading my dad the van for the Pontiac. And when I first got the van, it was like 180,000 miles on it. I think right now it's got like 211,000. That's all probably just from me driving it. My first, little bit in the van, I went from East Coast to West Coast. Didn't quite make it to the West Coast before I had to go home and help my dad, but it was great. I spent time in New Orleans and all that. It was great until like I have depression, and when I have depression hitting real hard, it's not fun. But I think the only reason why I was so depressed, like right before I came back, was because I had spent way too much time in San Antonio, and I was like at a Walmart, and I wasn't doing anything, and that's probably why I ended up being depressed. It's just because I needed a break, and I didn't like being a Walmart, I guess. I don't know. I had some mental issues going on, like all of us do. I have for the past year and a half been sort of doing online therapy and anti-anxiety medication. So I've kind of solved a lot of that. So I'm kind of like going all over the place here, but I'll get more into my life story probably in a future video if anybody like wants to know. Otherwise, if you don't want to know, that's fine too. If you'd rather just like look at my van and watch me travel and see cool things. But yeah, this is my channel. I'm gonna move back in my van. I'm gonna travel. I'm gonna work, which I don't like doing. Nobody likes to work. So if you would like to help me not work as much as I have to, like, subscribe, and press the bell icon to get updated on when I'm uploading. I plan on uploading at least a couple times a week. Of course, this all gonna be uploaded ahead of time because you know us van lifers, we're gonna not have Wi-Fi sometimes, and I'm not a very rich van lifer either, as you guys will see when I do my van tour. So I'm on like Mint Mobile, guys. I have Verizon towers, so you're probably gonna be like a month behind of what's actually going on in my life. Maybe, I mean, maybe less than that, maybe like 2 weeks, but we'll work it out. You know, if you're interested in watching some van life content, I'm also probably gonna deal with like spiritual topics, mental health topics, uh, LGBTQ plus topics because I am pan and also trans. So hopefully this is some stuff that you guys are interested in, since like every van lifer out there nowadays is doing YouTube, so I figure why not? It'll help me, you know, fight general loneliness. Maybe you guys will comment and all that, and especially once I show you the mascot of this channel. Uh yeah, I have pets, so you guys will meet them in a future video. So for now, enjoy your day. Sticks and bricks people, enjoy your rent, and those of you on the road, enjoy your travels, and I'll see you next time.